And we're back to wrap things up. Sheila Nash joins us, her very first show. Thank you very much for filling in for, what's his name? And Heather, why don't we go through those three unbelievably tasty mushroom recipes you
All
made.
right, yes. Well, the theme today was mushrooms top it off. And so the first recipe was Asian steak with mushrooms with a ginger dressing. And you basically cook the mushrooms in the steak, toss it with a nice dressing, and then you put it all together. It's sort of a meal all in one. Then the second recipe we did was called a mushroom lover's French bread pizza. Again, we cooked up a variety of mushrooms, and then we hollowed out a French bread loaf, toasted it, put the mushrooms in, topped it with some Swiss cheese, and broiled it. And the last recipe was a mushroom melt with provolone and garlic thyme mayo, and we used a portobello mushroom for this particular one, and it's a nice vegetarian burger for somebody that wants to try something different.
I'll have one of those to go.
Yeah.
The recipes for this show and the complete series of great tastes are available at Manitoba Liquor Marts online, on the Food Manitoba website.
And Sheila Nash, what have you got for Heather and me?
Well, I've got a couple of exciting things actually. To start with, the Asian steak with mushrooms and the ginger dressing sounded, as you mentioned, it had lots of flavors, but it looked so refreshing. So I thought I would pair up some Barefoot Bubbly. This is a Pinot Grigio. I'll be honest, as soon as I start talking bubbles, I get very excited. I love this product.
I start giggling.
It's awesome, but it's nice and refreshing, and it's got enough weight to it. I think it all has that nice acidity. I'll cut right through it and still pair up nicely. And then to go with it, I thought if you weren't looking for bubbles, you could try something different. And this is E&J brandy. And I think most of us think of having brandy in a sifter by a fire, and that's lovely and all, but you can also have some fun with it. And all I did was stretch it out with a little bit of tonic, a slice of lime, and it changes the flavors completely. You still get all those warm characteristics, but it becomes completely refreshing, nice and crisp, and I think it'll really work well with the salad.
That would be a nice drink.
And then to go with mushroom melt French bread, I thought it'd be fun to go with some wines. So the first one I chose was McMurray Ranch Pinot Gris, and this is from Sonoma Coast, and we're all familiar with Pinot Grigio and Pinot Gris. This one's got a little bit more weight behind it, had some aging on sur lie, so just aged on its lees, so you get a little bit more complexity behind it. So I think it'll hold up really well with those earthy flavors in the mushrooms. And then the Pinot Noir, again, Sonoma Coast, and California we all think nice and warm, but it's actually a little bit of a cooler climate there, so you get that earthiness right up front, and the fruit is much more secondary. So I'm hoping that's gonna, again, pull out some of those earthy flavors and work with the gooey cheese that looks awesome. And then lastly, with the mushroom melt and provolone garlic thyme mayo, I thought, why not go back to bubbles? It's always a really fun one. Again, Barefoot Bubbly, and this is the Brut. So this is quite a bit different than the first one because it's less citrus. It's going to have a little bit more weight, a little more complexity, and a lot drier finish to it. But again, great acidity, which is what I was looking for.
The other thing I like, all the Barefoots are, and I think there's about 8 or 9 of them now. They all run around $10.
They're fabulous.
Great value.
Yeah, great value for sure. And then lastly, seemed like a burger style, so I thought go with a red wine. And this is Apothic Red. Again, this is a blend coming out of California. 40% Zinfandel, which we're all familiar with, 40% of Syrah, and then just 20% Merlot. So it's one of these big, juicy, fruit-forward reds. Delicious, and I think it'll pair up really well.
Currently, that is my favorite wine. Also a really good value. I'd recommend it to anyone. Terrific job, Sheila. Thank you very much, and we look forward to seeing you more often on the show, and along with all your terrific recommendations. Heather, thank you as always. Three terrific dishes. Oh, for goodness sake, and 3 great glasses of. It really doesn't make any difference what it is. Toast to you, a toast to you, and we'll see you next week right here on Great Tastes of Manitoba. Bubbles.
Great Tastes of Manitoba is presented by Manitoba Liquor Marts. Great Tastes is produced by Hummer Productions.